It's extremely important that we uncover through our shadow self as well as our higher self. We must integrate yin yang. I am certain that the path to greatness isn't by denying our shadow self, it's by integrating it. Welcome. So you are probably wondering, what is this technique? What is he actually talking about? Well, listen, tuning in on the 2.0 you gives undeniable proof. Uncovering this person brings you closer in tune with your higher self, with your vibration, okay? So ultimately aligning you with your core being, with your higher purpose. So what happens is, what we put out, we receive. We know this. We think, we act, we feel. That will come back to us. But no one ever talks about the 3D world. How can we be in our assumption, but before we get good at meditation, before we become more high vibe? Because a lot of the people that I've noticed that, they have trouble meditating, they have trouble getting past those humps and hurdles right in the beginning. What truly brings them to that, the promised land is undeniable proof. And this is what I call the avatar method. So what you're going to do is you're going to write out, who am I? Who is this person? Who is my higher being? Who does this person look like? What do they wear? How do they think? How do they act? How much money do they have? So when we create this person, it truly gives us undeniable proof that they exist. Because if we can imagine it, we can manifest it. We can bring it into our existence. So look, really think about this. You are here now, little old you. Now, there are problems, there are hang-ups, there are negative vibrations from the core, and that is what you will attract. Undeniable. So create this other person, okay? Because in the beginning, it's so hard to not focus on the negative, okay? On the blocks, on the hang-ups, and truly become more high vibe. Make this person the exact opposite. The exact opposite. If this person is in lack, make this person in abundance. Maybe they have money. Maybe they have love. Make that person your ideal self. And this is in the 3D realm. This isn't in our meditation. This isn't going to, really penetrate to the subconscious mind. But that comes later. This is sort of your gateway, because we get so caught up. The older we get, the more bogged down by life and programs, habits. We can't just make that leap because it feels so real. Our life, it feels like this is it. This is the way it is. But running through life on autopilot, being run by those subconscious beliefs and habits that we've held on to for decades, it's very, very difficult to let go of. But this will step you into that knowing because you see it. You have made it from your imagination. Your conscious self has created this new you. Now, this is an act of continual love towards this person. This is the 2.0 you. That's the new you. This carries over to your meditative practices. So this person will become this person. But all of this stuff, the negative beliefs, the lack, okay, it will fall away. It will ultimately be let go of. It cannot go the other way, because this is always in your vision. You know that person is there. You know it. So there's no way this one can survive. It cannot happen. And now, how do we carry this over to meditative practices? In your meditation, okay, you will become completely separate, and you will become this. You will separate yourself from the thoughts, from the beliefs, from the habits. All of that falls away. That is true meditation. We lift ourselves outside of our physical being and we become this person. We can imprint heavily on their being. Now, I'm sure you might have noticed that all this month of December has been sort of stressful, sort of like letting go of the old and sort of letting the new not survive, but, come into play, really come into fruition. And this is where I've gotten hung up so many years in a row. I would feel this negativity and I would just sink into it. I wouldn't allow it to be, surpassed. So how do we surpass it? Unconsciously, we are being run by it. So we need to become conscious and aware of the path ahead. And how do we do that? Through meditative practices. Meditative states completely separate us from this physical world. And we can make leaps and bounds. And I know you've heard of shadow work, manifesting, law of attraction, all that good stuff. But it all begins right at the point of separation and awareness through meditation. And this is why I talk about this all the time, because it literally saved my life when I became aware, when I became really consciously aware. That was the point that turned me around, that turned my life around. And that is how you do it. When we create our avatar in the 3D realm, we're not meditating, okay? We're not tapping into the subconscious. We are simply imagining us as the better person with all the things that we want. And we become that person through techniques and meditation. But I'll tell you right now, all that stuff is good and all that stuff works. And healing our chakras, becoming more in tune, becoming aware. This is excellent stuff. But it all comes down to the I am. You already are everything that is in existence. All timelines exist in this moment. And at every moment, you can become this person. And I've seen people do this without meditating. I've seen people do this without even caring about the spiritual world, without caring about their chakras, because it's not like that information isn't true. They made the I am statement and they became that person. They continually acted as that person and just lived their life as that person, because what they ultimately did was they left the old them behind. They left it behind. And this didn't go out anymore. They weren't projecting this negativity. They weren't projecting the old self. They became the 2.0 them and then started attracting. They started attracting. They just want the new them. They want to become better. They want to be the better person that they see, that they envision. They know it's there, but they can't grasp it. And they learn that this is not truly the path to that person. You have to change the core vibration. This has always helped them because it's very difficult for them to meditate, to become separate. But when they see that they can imagine this person and become it, they start to become true believers, really. Now, a lot of folks that come into my program, they always are skeptical. A lot of them aren't, but there are a lot of them that are. They're skeptical of meditative practices. They watch all kinds of content. They have all this knowledge of, the spiritual self, chakras, law of attraction, identity shifting, and they don't understand really what it does. It's just a lot of garbage, like techniques and processes, and that stuff works. But in the beginning, it's important to realize that you have to integrate the shadow self. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little exercise here. And this exercise will completely bring you into your new self. So let's say you never meditated and you don't meditate. I would urge you to get into meditation. It is absolutely how you can change your life. No doubt in my mind. Now, you can script, you can draw a picture, but what you want to do is name yourself. Number one, name yourself. Make this person real. Who is that person? It's you. Name them. Put a name on them. Don't just go out of the blue and create some avatar that is not you. Then it turns into something you wish to be. And that is continually focusing on lack. You want to name this person. It's your name. Name it. Jure. Who is the 2.0 Jure? Now, begin to... Oops. I hit the camera. All right. Now, so what else does this person have? What are their attributes? What are their characteristics? Name them. Start giving them the characteristics in which you would like to acquire. This person is you. This person already exists. This uncovers the truth and gives you proof that they are in existence because you've just created them. You just created them. Start naming them off. Where do they live? What clothes do they wear? What do they eat? What do they look like? What kind of people are around them? How do they feel? How does this person feel? How do they act? What do they believe? Really, really uncover it and be like super creative with this because this is you. This is who you will become, ultimately will become. So here's the trick. Every time you create something, come back to the name. Jure is this and this and this and this. Jure is this and this and this and this. Jure acts like this. Say it out loud. Really make this person a real character. And when it starts to feel silly, because it will, it'll feel silly, it'll feel like you're doing something weird and wrong, and that's okay. This is the beginning parts of it. That's because your old programs, your old beliefs, you must push through that, okay? And a really good example of this is Bob Proctor. He talks about taking a piece of paper, writing down what you have in the future, the money, the love, the success, whatever you want, and putting it in your pocket and carrying it around with you. And he always talks about how silly it feels in the beginning. It's like this minute little thing you do, and you're like, what am I doing? Does this really work? But over time, what you're doing is you're ingraining that in your subconscious being. It's there, and there'll be a moment where it's absolutely undeniable. The proof of what you wrote down and who you've created is you. And you'll look at it one day and realize, that's who I've become. That was me all along. But here's how you make leaps and bounds. Believe it. Believe who that person is. Don't wait so long for it to happen. You must become it now. Everything you write down, how this person feels, how this person acts, do it. Start to mimic and mirror this person, this avatar that you've created. And over time, it's much faster than just writing it down and putting it to the side. It will work, especially if you keep coming back to it in the morning, at night, and you keep coming back to it. It will happen, but that's so tedious. And I remember doing that, and I was just like, God, this is taking so long. Why isn't anything working? It's because I was still stuck in separating myself. And when I made the switch, I just became it. Well, I already wrote it down. Why don't I just do these things? That's how it really happens. Do them. It feels silly at first. I'm not going to lie to you. It feels silly. The more you do it, the more you will become this person. And for me, oh my gosh, it drove me into completely going head on with my meditation. I was just, I have to meditate. This is drawing me towards meditation. I don't know why, but I have to. When I started meditating, that person was right there waiting for me. They were right there. Everything that was blocking me, my childhood problems, everything that was a trauma in my life, they were there to show me the path past it, how to let go of this, how to get past it, how to become them. They were right there a whole time. So that's why meditation is so important. But this is the starting point if you're a beginner. Now, let's say you're like super advanced. You've been meditating for years. You're not a dabbler. You don't meditate here and there, and then take like a week off. You are a meditator. It is in your life. And it's okay if you miss a day meditating. It's okay. Sometimes I miss a day. No big deal. But I've found that on those days that I don't wake up and truly ground myself, set intentions, things are a little bit off. So I try to get something in there, even if it's 5 minutes, because when you get good at meditation and you learn that, man, becoming this person and letting go, it's kind of like an ongoing, I don't want to say struggle, but it's an ongoing task that you must conquer. You don't just begin meditation and make leaps and bounds, and then all of a sudden it's there, it's set in stone. No, you have to continually keep up on this practice. And by doing that, even just a little bit, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, ground you perfectly. You can set intentions perfectly because maintaining that centered awareness is easy. Because you've done it so many times. You've broken those barriers, Once you break those barriers, oh my God, it's so much easier. It's so much easier. Now, let's get back to this. As an advanced meditator, you've been doing it a long time, you can hold centered awareness for 10, 20, 30 minutes, however long you want. Because once you can do it, you can just do it. And one of the exercises that really got me into that space was Neville Goddard's leaf exercise. After I did that exercise and I could hold my awareness, here's how I created my avatar. I went into my meditative state and imagined that person and became it in my meditative state. I jumped into that person's body, felt what they felt, handled things like they handled things. In the past, stuff would come up in my life, and the way I handled them in the past, incredibly stressful, incredibly emotionally involved, very out of whack, very out of tune. But in my meditative state, this person, this avatar that I've created, truly my higher self, they handled it much differently. And I use them as the coach and teacher that we all have inside of us. And they taught me how to, in this world, in this experience, truly be more high vibe, more, productive in my days, more purposeful in my days, more intentional with the way I was living. And it wasn't like I was, at the whim of the world. No. So if you have any questions about this exercise, drop them in the comments. Grab my Inner Sanctuary meditation. It's free. It's guided meditation. This will put you in that centered state. This will help you get past those humps and hurdles and all that stuff that will completely bring us, to the promised land. And shadow work can be done. The law of attraction can be harnessed and used in our advantage. Instead of us, being at the will of whatever comes to us or whatever happens. Because you are attracting in this moment all the time. The law of attraction, it's a never-ending process. I think Dolores Cannon actually said it. You're a master manifester. You are a master manifester. Even if you don't know it, you're doing it all the time. Grasping onto what we can manifest through meditative practices, that's a game changer. That is an absolute game changer. Drop a comment if you dig it. I'll see you in the next video, my friend.